Welcome everyone, it's Nicola Cairncross here, and it's Christmas Day. Going to be an awful lot of entrepreneurs coming out this Christmas and deciding to start their own business, and there'll be a good proportion of those will be older people who've spent a whole lifetime in employed work. And I was thinking, what are the things that I would most like to share with those people, with you, if you're starting a new business, if out of my 25 years plus experience as being an entrepreneur and a self-employed business owner. Because I started my first business when I was about 8, and I had several businesses up until the age of about 38. So that was 30 years of failures. And I really just got my first successful business going when I was in my late 30s. And I learned a lot in the 20 years since then, a lot. And I learned why all of those other businesses had failed. And I wanted to share with you 25 tips from 25 years experience in ideally 25 minutes. What do you reckon? Do you think we can do it? So let's start with working to your strengths. I think whenever I start working with a new client, I get them to go off and do, well, Roger Hamilton's wealth dynamics profile. It's a mixture of psychological stuff and personality stuff. What you end up with is a really good psychological profile of your easiest, fastest route to the money. We're all wired differently and we all like to make money in different ways. For example, I'm a creator star personality. I love to be on stage. I love to be on camera. I love to be creating things. In fact, if I'm not creating something new, I feel like I'm like the shark, you know, where the shark dies if he stops moving. That's how I feel if I'm not creating. But other people are very different. And I had a creator as a business partner, and I had a Lord accumulator as a business partner. And that was a great combination. I've also got a large dollop of mechanic in me, which means I like to know how things work, but it isn't the best use of my time. So if you do Roger Hamilton's wealth dynamics profile, just Google it online, cost you about $50 to $70. Well worth it, because it will show you your fastest route to the money. Okay, next thing, get in front of a hungry crowd, especially in the face of a recession, if not a depression, which is what we've got coming now. I was just watching someone on YouTube and they were saying that even in a depression, people love to buy things like chocolates, they love to buy little luxuries, they love to buy cosmetics. I, for example, treated myself to a fluffy rug to put over my knees while watching television, because obviously we're all turning the heating down a bit, but I didn't want to feel like an old lady, an old granny wrapped up in loads of blankets, which is what I was doing before. So I bought myself a beautiful pink fluffy rug, and oh my God, it's so luxurious. And it was £50 well spent, let me tell you. And I bought it in pink. It's got a lovely fluffy side on the outside, which keeps you really warm. And it's got a beautiful, soft, velvety inside, which makes you feel really cozy and yet glamorous at the same time. So think about what you could sell to people, or what you could make, or how you could source those products and sell them on to the people who want them. So, okay, on that topic, find a way to sell to people's wants rather than their needs. Now, I'm hoping to help lots and lots of new entrepreneurs in the new year, probably people who are a bit older, a bit like me, who want to take their advice from someone who's been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, and not one of these muscly young bros that they'll come across if they search start a new business or become an entrepreneur. But the thing to do is to not try and sell what people need, because if someone needs educating that they need your product or service, then it's going to be a very hard uphill struggle. I've tried that many times and it's not worth the effort, let me tell you that. So think about your ideal target market, think about what you could sell, product or service, or what you could source from other people and sell. And then think about what they want. What do they want? What's their outcome that they want? They want it quick, they want it cheap, they want it easy, but they can't have all three. So what could you do that sells to their want rather than their need, so you don't have to educate your potential future customer? Talking of that, get a really clear picture in your head. Now, I know you might not know who your ideal future customer is yet, because you might not have any customers or clients, but what you can do is you can start with one group. Think to yourself and talk to your friends and family and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to offer. Who do you think I should offer this to first? And then by talking to a wide range of people, you'll find out the people who most resonate with your product or service. And that can be your starting point. Now, you're not committing yourself to you're not having it tattooed on your forehead that these are your ideal customers. You're just starting with a group to target all your attention, all your marketing attention to initially. YouTube's fantastic for this, because you can actually put a video out and you'll find out who your ideal customer is, because the people who comment underneath will be the engaged potential future customers, and you can find out what their wants are, you can find out what their needs are, and you can find out what they most want right now that they would buy from you. Okay, do something you're interested in. I've spent this Christmas holiday watching videos by other entrepreneurs, because that entrepreneurship is something I'm endlessly fascinated with. I'm a raging entrepreneur. I have been since I was a kid, and I love the whole thing. I love other entrepreneurs. I love the whole thing about it. I would spend my whole time reading about entrepreneurship, watching videos about entrepreneurship, and hanging out with other entrepreneurs, even if I wasn't being paid for it. So if you can find something you're at least strongly interested in, you're going to have a much more fun time of building a business. Learn how to work a simple spreadsheet. If I'd have had one piece of advice right at the beginning of my entrepreneurship, my business life, even before I started succeeding, it would be this. Most people teach you how to run a monthly cash flow forecast. That is not enough. I was actually watching someone today who says he has an online daily cash flow forecast, and all of his people who run all his businesses feed into that cash flow forecast. So every single day, he's absolutely clear about what impact he's spending in one business would have on the other businesses. I mean, I'm not suggesting you start more than one, but you need to know what impact everything you spend in your personal life is going to have on your personal income. 1 month out, 3 months out, a year out, and ditto with your business. You need to be on top of your numbers, and the only way you can do that is with a daily or a weekly cash flow forecast. I would suggest weekly to start with. It can be done with a simple spreadsheet. There's actually a video on my channel here, if you look below, and you'll find it easily. It's how to manage your money easily, and I will show you how to make that spreadsheet there. Absolutely crucial. Top tip, absolutely top tip. Find a way to make a simple business plan. Now, I recommend Traction. It's got a fantastic two-page business plan in it, and it gets you to set a 10-year goal, break down where you'd have to be in 5 years to be halfway there, where you'd have to be in 2.5 years to be halfway there, where you'd have to be in 1 year to be nearly there, where you'd have to be in 3 months' time to be 1/4 of the way to your 1-year goal. And it just basically helps you create a timeline. It's all very well setting goals, but if you don't have a timeline, and then you don't make strategic action steps to take this week, this month, this quarter, this year, this 5 years, this 10 years, then how on earth are you going to know if you're on track? And if you don't know if you're on track or not, you'll never be able to switch off. That's one of the entrepreneur's traps, never being able to switch off. I mean, I love entrepreneurship, as I said. I would listen to it all day long, but the problem is that it gives me so many ideas that I would then overwork. I need to be able to know that I'm on track with my business, and that I can switch off for a weekend or an evening sometimes. And that's the way to do it, by timelining your goals. Okay, here's another one. Be authentic and have integrity. I mean, I've had some business failures in my time, but the one thing I'm really happy about is that I've never closed a business owing a person money. Yes, I might have owed the tax office some money once. I've never ever shafted anyone in business, and I'm very proud of that. And the other thing is to be authentic. It's like I could have started this YouTube channel, I could have set up a fancy background so that you didn't see my home. I could have put a load of makeup on and made myself look a bit more glamorous, but that's not authentic for me, because I used to wear a load of makeup. I did it for 50 odd years. I'm bored of it now. I don't care. I don't wear makeup every day. So this is how I look. So I'm being 100% authentic, and I think people resonate with that because they can tell. Give your expertise away freely. You can never give enough expertise away. If I did 200 videos, 500 videos on this channel, I could never tell you everything I've done, everything I've learnt. And you wouldn't sit here and watch 500 videos. If you give away a lot of expertise freely, then people will come to you to get the condensed version. They'll come to you to get what do I do in which order. They come to you for ease and speed and reassurance. So don't be afraid about giving away your expertise freely. It will just attract the right customers to you. Know the difference between employees and entrepreneurs. Us entrepreneurs tend to imagine that everybody is like us, that everyone's motivated by building a business and being involved and working hard and earning loads of money. No, some people just want an easy life. They just want to come to work, get paid, and go home again. And that's the majority of people, actually. And the problem is that we all imagine that everyone's like us. You've got to remember that most people are not like us. They want comfort, they want stability, they want to do a good job, and they want to go home to their family at a decent time. So don't get mad with people when they don't live up to your standards. You've just got to make sure that they they do the right things when they're at work, and they fulfill your need for that particular employee. And when I'm talking about employees, I'm also mainly talking about outsourcers in my case. I don't expect my outsourcers to work evenings and weekends. So when I send them something, I don't necessarily expect to get it back straight away. On that topic, remember that not everyone's motivated by money. Some people are motivated by recognition. Some people are motivated by rewards and treats. You've got to find out what motivates the people you work with. And it's a really good idea to ask these questions of your business, any potential business partners too. I've often had business partners who weren't motivated by the same things as me, and it comes up as a horrible shock because I'm a bit of an entrepreneurial narcissist like that. I just imagine everyone's wired like me. So it comes up as a horrible shock when you find out that your business partner or your employee is motivated by something completely different to where you are. It's a good idea to set people tests or give people hoops to jump through. Especially when it comes to a service-orientated business, especially when it comes to employing people, and most especially when it comes to taking on business partners. Because if people can't do the simple things you ask them to do at the beginning, then when they're highly motivated, imagine how bad it's going to be to get them to do anything you want them to later down the line. Make it easy for people to buy. This one drives me absolutely bonkers online. There's so many barriers that people put up in front of a customer. You make them come to your website and then you make them hunt for what you want them to do. Absolutely crazy. Make it immediately bleeding obvious what you want them to do in the bit above the fold. And remember that most people now are on mobile phones. So check your own website on a mobile. Make sure that the information you want them to get is easily obtainable immediately. They're not going to go hunting to become your customer or client. Make it easy for them and get their name and email as early as you possibly can, because that will cover a multitude of sins if you can contact people afterwards. As soon as you're doing tasks regularly, record yourself doing them if they're online, and then send them off to a VA somewhere to turn into a step-by-step standard operating procedure, ideally with screenshots. All you have to do is record what you're doing on Zoom, and then they can take it from there, because you really want to have a standard operating procedure for everything you do over and over again in your business. So the sooner you set this up, the sooner you can find someone inexpensive overseas to actually do those tasks for you. I learned that one way too late, and I gave up control way too late. And I finally got it, and it's like a liberation, because when you're building a business, you want to think, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? But when you're saying that, you need to know that you don't mean you mean that you just set something up and then other people will do it over and over again for you. Because that's the thing that terrifies most entrepreneurial types, being locked into having to do jobs over and over again. So that holds us back for setting up new things in our business. When I bought my hotel, the first thing I did was write the How We Do It Here manual. And even when it was my dad taking it over to run it for a couple of years, I made him stick to the manual, because I'd worked out how I wanted absolutely everything done. And I wanted to make sure that the people who took over from me, my dad initially, and then my partner Steve, although he wasn't my partner then, I wanted them to know exactly how I wanted it done. And the best thing about that is that you can actually give them scope to improve the standard operating procedure or the How We Do It Here manual. So you say to them, look, if you come across some way to do this better, let me know and we can put it into the manual. So they've got what's called agency over their job, and they've got the ability to improve on their procedures and tasks they have to do. But you've got to document it and record it, so that if they walked out with a moment's notice, someone else could walk in and know exactly what they're supposed to do daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Right, create products from your knowledge and skills and expertise. It's much easier for people to buy a product than it is for people to jump straight to your high ticket items. So ease them through the customer journey by giving away something first, selling them something low ticket, easing them into whatever products or service you want to go next. Make a logical customer journey for that customer or client to follow. It makes it much, much easier to create a sale, and the early sales cover your marketing, so it makes it much easier to have an unlimited marketing budget if you're making a small profit from your initial products or services. And then the real profit items come on the back end. Nobody cares about your business or your fortunes like you do. I always say this to my clients, nobody cares. Put it on your computer, put it on the mirror you see first thing in the morning, because if you can get that through your head, it stops you being a victim. It stops you being what one of my previous mentors calls BMWs, bitches, moaners and whiners. And you don't want to be one of those people because they're very unattractive. And actually the universe, the whole thing about the theory of attraction is that you need to attract fantastic people around you. You need to attract fantastic clients and customers, and they don't come if you're moaning or you have a victim mentality. Okay, you need to learn to be everywhere online. If you're not on social media now, where your customers or clients are, you are invisible. Even if you're paying for ads on Google, for example, you've still got to be everywhere online, and it's much better to do that with great content. If you can find a way to make great content, even if it doesn't involve talking to a camera like I'm doing today, but for example, like the Dr. Martens boots factories, they make videos of how their boots are made, and you've got to find a way to get yourself in front of your ideal customer or client when they're not looking for your product or service, and then you need to find a way to keep in front of them in a really great value added driven way, so that when they're ready to buy, they know exactly where to come. We've touched on this already, but I just want to say that if you can outsource all the things that you can't do, you won't spend any of your precious time trying to make up for your weaknesses or your lack of skills or your lack of experience. Just focus entirely on the things that you can do well and outsource the rest. And on a similar topic, you should be outsourcing everything except the things that only you can do. If you did the Roger Hamilton Wealth Dynamics test that I mentioned earlier, you will know the bits you're good at. You'll know the bits you're strong at. I had no idea I was any good at speaking on stage. But then when I did it for the first time, and I realised not only did I absolutely love it, but people absolutely resonated with me. But I would never have known that if I hadn't done the test and found out that I'm a creator style personality type. And actually, I'm an introvert. You'd never think so, would you? But I actually am an introvert. I'm what's called a confident introvert. So I'm not someone who's not sure of themselves. I'm very sure of myself, but I need to recharge my batteries. I don't work well in crowds for long periods of time. But oh my God, I love getting on stage and I love talking to camera. As an entrepreneur and a business owner, you're going to come up against people who expect you to make them happy. You've got to remember that you are not responsible for other people's happinesses. You're responsible for being honest with them. You're responsible for having clear boundaries. If you've got employees, you're responsible for paying them when they've come to work for you, but you're not responsible for their happiness. And I think this is something that mums have a particular problem with, and it's also something that big sisters and brothers have particular problems with, because they've been made to feel responsible for their siblings. And of course, as a parent, you're responsible for your child's happiness, but you can't be responsible for other grown-ups' happiness. So just try and remember that when people are trying to put the emotional screws on you. Here's something I had to learn by bitter experience. Your accountant and your bank manager are not entrepreneurs. They are not business owners. They are employees. So be very wary before taking their advice. So who do you turn to for advice? You've got to find yourself some great mentors. And you'll find that if you come with the attitude of 100% responsibility, so that's sort of along the lines of nobody else cares about your business, but people will care more and they will want to help you if you've got the right attitude, that it's only you that's going to be responsible for your own success. You've got honesty, you've got integrity, you've got authenticity, you've got that spark of life in your eye because you're working on something you're really interested in and you enjoy, and you will attract great mentors. And these are people who are further ahead down the road of business and entrepreneurship than you are, and just the look in your eye will attract them because there are so few of us about. So if other business owners and entrepreneurs love to talk to other business owners and entrepreneurs, and that's how you'll find your mentors. Right, 3 last things, and they're all about money. If your business is doing well, do not be hesitant to take a decent income from it. If you're not earning well from your business, then you're not going to be motivated to carry on giving it your absolute best. And the reason that's really important is because you need to take money out of your business from the profits of your business, and you need to reinvest it elsewhere in the good times, because then you'll have other investments, savings, and personal finances to fall back on should times get tough, as they're going to in the next few years. Have you ever wondered how any businesses survived through 2 years of lockdowns? They'd taken money out of the profits when times were good. They'd reinvested them into other things. They'd taken a decent salary themselves, so they had their own assets to fall back on, and people were able to survive because of that. If you live hand to mouth in your business and you can't even pay yourself, you don't actually have a business. And finally, my last bit of advice at 25 tips, 25 minutes from 25 years experience of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, is learn about macroeconomics. When I lost my first successful business back in 2010, it was because I didn't know what was going on in the world around me. I didn't have a clue. And I could have known 2 or 3 years before that if I'd been paying attention to macroeconomics. There are people on YouTube who are really good at this, and some of the best people that I follow are Manico64, who talks about the whole English banking system and the English economic system. There's a guy called George Gammon who's got 2 channels, George Gammon channel, and he's also got the Rebel Capitalist channel, and he's very good at doing whiteboard videos that explain things for visual people, so I really would get to know him as well. And the final one is Rafi Farber. Now, Rafi Farber does a Friday show for Arcadia Economics, and he also does his own show on his own channel. That's RAFI Farber, Farber, and he's brilliant too. And Lynette Zhang as well. Lynette Zhang has got an amazing channel as well. So finally, follow the Duran. The Duran are 2 guys, Alex Christoforou and Alexander Mercurio, and they've got a really good handle on what's happening in the world politically and how that's going to affect people's economies. Keep up to date with what's going on in the world, and then you won't be sideswiped like I was in 2008, 2009, 2010. You'll be years ahead of other business owners and entrepreneurs, and you'll know what's coming down the pike at you, and you'll be able to prepare for it. I hope that helps. I really hope it helps all the new entrepreneurs that are going to be starting out in business this year. You know where to come. If you come to my channel, I'll be sharing my knowledge, sharing my experience, and I'll be ready to give you a hand whenever you're ready.